Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Okay, my love, I have put everything that I offer for free on one page so that we are not doing more work than we have to, because why would we do that? Hashtag work smarter, not harder. So livemyhappyhealth.com/free. You are going to find everything I've created for not only leveling up in your personal life and building a life that you love, but leveling up in your business life and building a business that you love. Okay? livemyhappyhealth.com/free. Love you. Okay, y'all, we have got Kari Ginsburg, like Ruth Bader, but no relation, which is what we were just talking about, who works with female and femme, my dog, and femme entrepreneurs to become their most badass, authentic, powerful, magnetic, self. Mm-hmm. And she is the head badass in charge of her own company, which, like, yes, we love that. Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
This is gonna be so fun. Like, y'all, I was checking out her website and I was telling her, like, I didn't know her before this episode, but like I feel like I know her.
Yeah, we're gonna get to know each other really, really well, I think, over this time together. Totes.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna make that fun at the end of it. So my favorite thing to start with, because I think, one, I am a nosy little gremlin and I want people to know who you are, is like, how did you get here and what do you do?
Well, I'm going to answer the what do I do question first, because I think that's the easier question to answer. So as you said, I support women and femme leaders and entrepreneurs. So look, I don't necessarily mean like leader, like you're leading a team of people. You are leading your own life as well, and that's fine with me. But I support those folks who want to spread out, get loud, and be boss bitches, and whatever that really means to you. So I'm an executive and life coach and consultant. In a nutshell, that's what I do. And how did I get here? Well, I had a long career before I blew it up and became a small business owner. I was an educator. I worked in event planning. I worked box office at a theater. That actually was a lot of fun. I got
remember theaters.
Jeez. They're coming back. And I was a young leader in the federal government for a long time. I had a really sort of meteoric upward trajectory in the federal sector as a leader, doing administrative, HR, and change work.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was
I would get fired from the government really quickly. Oh, sorry. That sounds more dramatic than it is. It's because I'm really, really bad at corporate culture.
Oh,
really bad.
Well, we can
not because I like anything, not because I'm like
no. The thing is, like, I think not to get political, but within this administration, who you are and being a little bit counterculture is becoming more widely accepted for leadership. So long as you're doing a good job and getting the work done and serving the clients and the customers, there is more room for you to be who you are. When I was in federal sector, I felt like I had to hide who I was. And like not be my truest, most colorful self. And I had mentors who were trying to like mentor me beige and take away the things that made me sparkle. And so
I love that phrase.
Thank you. So I was in federal service and then I left federal service. And I worked for a Fortune 500 company. So I went into like corporate consulting. Talk about not fitting the culture. That was always weird. Part of their value proposition for employees was like, be you. And it was like, I feel like there's a little asterisk.
But
like,
that was punished.
But like, not totally.
But not actually.
Yeah.
As long as we like it. Make it palatable.
Yeah. Be you. But if it doesn't fit into the people who you are serving, then like, don't be you.
Right.
And
which is so bad.
Yeah, it really is. And you can get a sense for when people aren't being their most honest selves. There's always this awkwardness. There's a sense of like, it's not that they're lying. It's just that there's a barrier, right? There's a wall that you can't quite possibly break through. And that makes things uncomfortable. So yeah. So, I mean, you can read all about my career details on LinkedIn if you wanted to. And I talk about it across other social media platforms as well at times. But the thing is, because for so long I felt like I couldn't be my true self at work, I was exhausted all the time. I constantly felt like I had this, like, my imposter inner voice was really loud. I felt disconnected from the work that I was doing. And it just made the day-to-day feel really hard.
Yeah.
And it felt like it didn't have to be this hard, and that there had to be a way for me to be at work the person that I knew to be under my skin, and when I was at home and in a more comfortable social environment. Part of my origin story is that in May of 2012, I was diagnosed with a big illness. I had a big surgery, and then I had an 8-week recovery. And it was during that recovery that I was like, you know what? Life is literally too short. I can't behave like this anymore. It's not serving me. It's not allowing me to reach what I want to do, like my full potential. And so I came back with a new haircut. I was still professionally attired, but like I would wear a gray suit. Gray suits were welcome. But it had like a metallic pink pinstripe, and I was wearing vintage pumps, and my makeup and my jewelry and everything was like a little bit closer to who I was. And then as time progressed, I turned up the dial incrementally, day by day by day by day by day. And the thing that I think is also important to know about me is I'm an overcompensating introvert. So I was introducing myself to the world, but still having to replenish within. I couldn't get that energy from external engagements or like chit-chatting with people in the office. Like I would have to do that, but then I would have to find time
like retreat and recharge.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So there was this really interesting push-pull happening. That was a little long and a little bit rambly, but that's how we got here today. So I had a corporate job. It was really cushy. I had a boss who, it was just a bad fit. No, I'm going to be brave and say that they were a bad boss and they created a toxic environment. And I stayed in that role too long because I was worried about the people who worked for me, right? My direct reports. But the pandemic happened. And when all of my extracurriculars, the things that lit me up, the things that made me happy, the things that I was working so hard in the day to fund at night, when all of those things were removed, work wasn't enough anymore. And so
it probably never was to begin with, but you could fill it.
I could hide it. Yeah, exactly. So I talked to my partner and I was like, I'm really miserable. And he said, yeah, I know. I said, I think I want to make a change. And he's like, yeah, you should. I was like, I'm going to quit.
We love that.
And I'm going to take my side hustle, which was coaching, and make it a full-time job. And so I've never looked back.
So you're like full-time for just a few years now.
Yeah.
Yes, we love that for you. How's it been? Like, I'm always also okay. So one of the reasons I'm a therapist is I'm like stupid nosy. I'm like, tell me.
No, I love it. My undergraduate degree is in theater, which means I'm an expert in the human condition, which just allows me to be nosy and ask questions about people as well. So like, ask away. You can ask me anything you want.
Answer all my questions. Yes. Unless you don't want to. That's okay. I am also always curious about people's journey to like build their business. So what was that like for you? So you were doing it kind of on the side and then you stepped into it full time. Like what were your programs? What was your journey? Like what was the most fun and what was the most like, I'm currently in a swamp getting my ass eaten by an alligator and there's a python gnawing on my leg. Like,
yeah. Thankfully no pythons.
Good.
But one of the things that I did, so I come from an early upbringing where there was some financial trauma and insecurity. And so in order to make this leap, I made sure that I had a nest egg tucked away in an account that was like, do not touch, emergency break glass only. I'm really proud to say that to this day, I haven't dipped into it at all. And we gave ourselves, thank you. So I feel really proud of that. In talking, James, it's my partner, and talking with James, I was like, we're going to do it for 6 months and then we'll see where we are. And during that 6 months, and actually up until this point, I feel like I have worked harder than I have ever worked in my life, even when I had high visibility, high pressure jobs.
Yeah.
However, I've never had so much fun.
Yeah.
I never cry when the alarm clock goes off. I look
Oh my God,
forward
you
to the
used to
day.
cry?
I used to cry when the alarm clock went off in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good. It was not a good situation.
No.
But I know that there's so many people who the alarm goes off in the morning and they just dread until they can go home again. And
that is so sad.
it is very sad. It's very oppressing. And there are moments when you think, how can I possibly go on like this? And then you just go, well, I have to, because I have to put
Humans'
bread on the table.
capacity to adapt and
Yeah.
Suffer is unmatched, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like when
No.
you said that earlier, I say that all the time. Like it doesn't have to be this hard. And the answer isn't always entrepreneurship. Like
No,
entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
it is not.
It's not. But I think there's a lot of BS business coaches that are like, the only way to be free. Like, shut up. We hate them.
Set your own schedule, work your own hours, support your family, live the life you want. That gets a little MLM
3 hours
culture
a week
too.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
bitch, you're a liar. No.
Or you're incredibly fortunate and you found a niche, but that's not going to be everybody's journey.
Right. Which is bad coaches in the
Yes.
coaching space.
Yes, agreed. There are a lot of bad coaches.
They make me so angry. But there are a lot of good ones, right? So one of the people that I really, really enjoy is Ramit Sethi. He's in the financial education space. And he does both. He teaches on entrepreneurship and he teaches on finding your dream job. He literally calls the course Dream Job. And he talks a lot about the nuance of like, yeah, you can run a business. It's hard. It's a lot. You quit 40 hours a week to work 80, to work 100. But eventually you should, like, if you're working 100 hours a week for 30 years, okay, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Then we need some systems. But he's like, that's not the only way. Like you can get especially now when people are begging for good employees.
Yes.
Which is lovely. So you left and you were like, I need a nest egg for my own financial security.
So I had a nest egg.
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to go into coaching. Because that was something that made me happy. I nerd out on supporting people and organizations through moments of transformation.
Oh, it's the most fun. I'm like, give me an organization with shitty leaders.
Yes.
And let me go to town.
And it is such a privilege to support people in those moments too, because particularly when you're talking about individual aspirations, the minute somebody is able to proclaim for themselves, this is what I want for me. And then they start to do the things that help them get closer. And you see them like unlocking things and like getting out of their own way and moving beyond their own bullshit. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I knew I was going to go into coaching and, really getting started. I mean, truthfully, the unsexiness of it all is, where do I even begin? What is enough to get started? Other than like, who's going to hire me? What do I need to get out into the world? And I built a website in a weekend.
You built your website in a weekend, or has it evolved?
It has evolved. So I had a website on a different platform. It wasn't bad. Actually, a lot of like the copy that you see on my current website is still from July 2020 when I first launched, because I feel very passionately about what I wrote. Now, every once in a while, I like tweak things here and there as my offerings have evolved. Things have grown, changed, added, been removed, what have you. But I started with just a simple website, highlighting one-on-one coaching and then consulting services as well. And it was like, I don't know, 2 pages. The depth of your website does not necessarily equate to the success of your business.
True.
And I set up a social media platform, which was Instagram for my business. And I cheated because Instagram connects to Facebook. Woo! So Facebook
That's not cheating. That's called being efficient.
Yeah. There's passive production there, which is great. And then I just settled into hustling for clients and figuring out how to reach the people that I wanted to coach and that I do coach. And all it was incredible. I've been so fortunate to have tremendous word of mouth from friends and from colleagues who helped make some early introductions. And then that has just taken off. So,
yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think when you're like, when I'm working with someone in a business capacity, I actually tell them like word of mouth is the best marketing you can get, but like you have to be that good. If you don't wow people, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't refer you.
No.
So if they're not referring you, we have a bigger problem. I love that. I love that for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows and glitter and unicorns. It never is.
The amount of times I've laid on the floor and I'm like, I'm going to die.
Yeah,
so dramatic.
I don't. I have coffee in a cup right now, but I don't drink caffeine. I don't drink a lot of like sugary soda beverages. But like when I'm having a hard day, I drink cherry Coke, and there's been a lot of cherry Coke in the last couple of years. It's been a lot of cherry Coke, and I actually a year ago September, I had a series of hard days. Now I will say that for whatever reason, September of 2021 was a moment where I just hit the bottom of my energy well and I was burnt to a crisp. I was burnt out and I didn't see it coming, which is a shame because I'm a coach and I support people who are saying, I think I'm burnt out. And when I say, if you're thinking you're burnt out, you're already burnt out. Like
sometimes you just don't see it.
Yeah, I miss the signals in myself. And I had a bad day where I had to fire a client and a long-term client decided they were ready to complete our coaching engagement, which is superb. I want people to say like, I am ready. Yeah. But I had nothing left. I had no resilience. And so I made it through that call. At that point I had like a CRM, like a tool that was doing my invoicing and my scheduling and my email correspondence and all these things. So I like flipped the switches to sort of complete them in my CRM and I closed my computer and then I like sat on the floor and just started crying. And then this little voice in my head was like, you can't just sit on the floor and cry. And I was like, you're right, inner Kari. So I got up and I like moved all of the furniture around in my office and I ordered wallpaper and I ordered paint and I like went into a closet and I pulled out a bunch of like empty picture frames and a folder of stuff that I had wanted to frame up in my office. And so I'm still like in hysterics, like reorganizing my room, hanging things on the wall. 3 days later, the wallpaper came. 2 days later, I bought the paint. And then I like renovated my space to give myself a fresh start in here. And in that process, like I got into my body and I worked out some of the stress there. And I took the time away from work, away from clients to really just recharge and get ready to roll. But like that was a wall moment that I can't explain, but I have learned from, which is if you're not taking care of yourself and you're not aware of the things that are going to trigger catastrophe, it is going to be a longer recovery when you get to that burnout moment. And you can't possibly support others if you are not supporting yourself.
Right. And I tell people all the time, like, if you're not being careful, consistent, considerate, all those words are good.
That's good alliteration.
Your body, thank you. Sometimes my noggin.
It's good. No, it's great.
And then last night I made the best mac and cheese. First of all, I've never made baked mac and cheese. I've always wanted to.
Oh yeah, from scratch.
Not like always, but like from scratch, girl. Like,
whoa!
I bought pasta like from like Italy at like the Food Lion, and I'm like, okay,
fancy pasta too.
Today.
Yes,
this is totally nothing, but I'll come back to it. So
that's fine.
On my brain being fire sometimes, it was so freaking good. And then I have never used a cast iron skillet.
Oh yeah.
And so I like put it in the oven, baked it in the oven. Forgot that it was hot.
Oh no, did you? Oh no. Do you still have fingerprints?
Well, so I grabbed it. This is so weird. I grabbed it with my pinky and my ring finger like this. Why?
It sends in a moment.
Knows? And I was like, I'm so fucking hot. So I called my sister and I was like, Angela, I'm really pretty. Like, just So pretty.
You are very pretty. Yes.
Very pretty. But anyway, I made the best mac and cheese. So sometimes my brain is fired and sometimes I grab
the skillet.
cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
After I took it out of the oven. It's fine. Oh, so what I tell people all the time is that if you're not consistent, if you have no connection to your body, which is what a lot of people shut down in order to mask, to do the work, to fit in, to extend beyond their boundaries, all of these things, is your body will shut you down for you.
Oh, yeah.
It'll shut down for you. Like, your body's smarter than you. It's like, hey, bitch, you're gonna die. So you know what we're gonna do? Lay in bed for 3 days instead. And then people are like, I'm depressed. And I'm like, maybe, or maybe your body is smarter than you. So like, usually once you fix the burnout, they're like, I'm not depressed. And I'm like, you were never depressed. You were burned out. It's not the same thing. People don't know that. And that's here nor there. But that sounds like what happened to you. Your body was like, hey, bitch.
Yeah.
We're going to sob for 3 days or like a day and rearrange some stuff. And like, you need a damn break.
Yeah.
And I find that like entrepreneurship is the single, well, maybe second, one of the top 2 vehicles for growth. Because you cannot, I will die on the hill that most businesses fail. You know, the statistic, like 90% of businesses fail in 5 years, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't really know if that's real, but that's what people repeat. Because people don't do the inner work. Not because you can't actually do the processes to run a business, but because they don't do the inner work. And that will block you a million times faster and a million times harder than saying, I can't send an invoice. The steps to entrepreneurship on paper, not that hard. In your noggin, when every single one of your fears comes up, when every single thing that you have around being seen, being judged, being paid, money scarcity,
owning your value. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God.
No, that's true.
The hardest.
And it is a reckoning again and again to realize that nobody is coming.
A reckon. Oh, damn, that's a good word. Can you repeat what you just said?
It is a reckoning to realize that no one is coming. No one will do it for you. Now, you can
hire great coaches.
That's exactly. Well, yes, you can hire a coach and a coach can support you through that. You might get to a point where you hire a VA or you hire a staff or somebody to do some of that for you. However,
they won't run your business for you.
They won't. They can't because it's your business. It's your business.
So your hill that you die on, one of the hills that you die on, is that like your authenticity makes your business.
Yes.
I love that about you.
Thank you.
I love that about you. Can you talk about how you landed there? And it sounds like going through the corporate and like being shut down and having to mask. It sounds very similar as when like autistic people talk about masking and how energy intensive it is and how they're just like totally drained at the end of the day. Where I think one of the huge differences is when you create a supportive environment, when you are unapologetically who you are. Obviously that shifts a little bit depending on like the context, right? Like Amanda is a therapist and Amanda, like real life is like 95% similar, but like there's a 5% difference. That becomes magnetic. And I think a lot of people don't know that. So can you talk about what you've seen and how you support people?
Yes, absolutely. So going back to my origin story, right? So when I started to dress a little bit more like me, when I started to behave more like me, people just got out of the way. And I don't know if it's because I honest to goodness don't know if it's because they were scared. Sorry. I mean, I'm not scary. I'm awesome. But I think it's also because
I think people are intimidated by authenticity.
I wasn't allowing myself to be made smaller, to be made quiet anymore.
Yeah.
And so other people in the workplace who were feeling like they were being made small or like they didn't have the ability to speak up with their own voice or they couldn't be innovative because somebody had shut them in a box.
Yeah. God, that makes me so
They
sad.
started to seek me out.
Right. Because you are now safe.
Yeah. For mentoring and coaching on how to bring that into themselves. And that was sort of the spark, the ignition of, oh, these are my people. And it is important for me to lean into this, not to exaggerate, but to really just own everything that makes me weird and special and a glitter bomb, because other people need to see that it's okay. They need that permission to start to do it for themselves, even incrementally. Maybe you're not ready to cut off all your hair and dye it pink and put on sparkly things or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you are ready to wear a bold lip.
I love that you say that. I have a client right now who was so excited because she's wearing earrings.
Yeah.
And she's like, I bought silly magnets for my fridge. She's like, I know that's so dumb. And I'm like,
I love it.
Dumb.
I love that. Yes. Let us celebrate that. How do we
silly
celebrate
magnets.
that? Yes.
She's like, I've always wanted magnets on my fridge. They're like in their, I don't know, 20s, like late 20s. And they're like, I bought magnets for my fridge. And I love them. They're little cats. And I'm just like, yes, bitch.
Oh, that's amazing. See, and like, was anybody saying they couldn't have magnets on their fridge? No.
Everyone. They grew up in a home where everything had to be museum quality. Nothing was personalized.
Nothing. See, I didn't have that background. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But now they're out on their own.
They were like, my home can be what I want it to be. And I'm just like screaming internally. But I love, you're so good. You're totally right. It gives people permission. And there's a quote that I found on Pinterest years ago that says, oh my God, love Pinterest, right? Like obsessed. That says you have to be brave with your life so that others can be brave with theirs. And I would be willing to bet that you have also found that the right people are drawn to you, people who need that permission, people who have never been taught or have been actively shut down, that they can speak up. And the people who wanted to control you, wanted to get into an ego power struggle with you, just got out of your way. So it's like authenticity both attracts and repels. And that's the point. Like that's
I will say those people who tried to control, still tried to control, and then got mad at me when they couldn't control. And then they went,
I'm mad, bitch.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry, you're mad.
That's why I say die mad about it. I'm like, literally write it on your headstone. Like, I don't care. I'm good, bro. Like,
yeah. No, I think I actually said to one person once, I'm sorry you don't like who I am, but that shouldn't impact our ability to work together.
That is so mature. And I'm sure they were like,
yeah, they were not thrilled about it. Yeah, they definitely get that, like the word spicy. They definitely went and like talked to my manager. My manager was like, so I don't understand. She just invited you to have a professional working relationship.
And you're throwing a tantrum.
Do you need how would you like me to intervene? And they were like and then they disputed. So yeah. So how do I support people, right? So first and foremost, I just had so many thoughts. I just have to pick one. My coaching practice is 100% judgment free. So
powerful. The most powerful thing you can do.
Absolutely. Because I want to meet people where they are. And so that even gets to like, if you show up for a coaching session in your pajamas, because that's how you're feeling that day, rad, let's have a jam. Like if you are having a camera off day for whatever reason, that's fine. If you are feeling the feelings today, bring the feelings. I am not a therapist. I'm not going to diagnose or cure, but we will exist in those feelings. We will hold space for them. Yes, because that will contribute to your growth in that conversation, right? So the reason that it's very important for me to say, first and foremost, that my practice is judgment-free is because I don't gatekeep. So while I say women and femme, I also coach men. While I say leaders, I coach individual contributors. However you interpret, spread out, get loud, and be a boss bitch, I want to hear about it. I'm not saying I only talk to women in academia. I'm not saying I only talk to femmes in the advertising space. I'm not saying I only talk to VPs and CEOs. That's not it. I am much more interested in the person and the personality match. Because if you are looking for a coach, you should date. You should go around to a couple of first introductory conversations and make sure that that is the right fit for you.
I say the same thing about therapists. If you don't like them, you don't have to like love them, but if your energy, if you're not like, oh, okay, they are the wrong person.
Yeah.
They're the wrong person. And that's okay, because there will be another one who's a better fit for you.
Yes.
100%.
And I'm happy to make referrals and make those introductions. But if you're not for me and I'm not everyone's cup of tea, that's rad. Let's celebrate that and not be annoyed about it. Let's find you the better fit. There it is. Exactly. So we start there, and coaching is really all about goal setting and working towards those goals. The thing is, there are words like goals, authenticity.
Yeah.
They make me a little twitchy, because I think that we, as a culture, have started to use them in a way that has lost their impact and lost the truth of what it is, right? Like, you can look on TikTok and see a bunch of people talking about what it means to be authentic. And it's like, you have a filter on. That is not your camper van. It's like, what is
I think people figured out the term authenticity makes money.
Yeah.
Because it's like how Instagram is so curated and perfect, and then people started being more real, and then people figured out, and it's like, but I think too, you can tell who's authentic and who's inauthentic. Like, if they're only ever marketing.
Yeah.
And I think this is where, like, really consumers, something I talk a lot about is like educating consumers on marketing practices. So I share a lot about, like, for example, the holistic psychologist or any of like the fucking wellness grifters on like TikTok and Instagram who are like, do you recognize your family's footsteps? You have trauma. And it's like, or you have lived with your family your entire life. Do you get stressed out in the morning when you wake up? You have trauma. And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
You might have trauma. It's not all trauma.
Right. But if I can tell you that everything you experience is something wrong with you and I can fix it, now you're a customer for life. And you can never heal it because you're always traumatized every day. Right. So
that's a snake oil salesman, right?
Right. They're grifters. Yeah. They're freaking con artists. I don't remember how I got here. Oh, talking about authentic and inauthentic.
Yes.
So one of the things that I'm really like, that I talk about a lot, I think a lot, anyway, whatever, is like consumer education. Like, if something feels off, if you're like, oh, this person is so aspirational, but that makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
You're being marketed to. That's not the person for you. No. So we want authenticity that's accessible. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. And that's why instead of the word authentic, I use words like true and honest. Because they might be basic words, they might be simple words, but they even like go back to childhood, where we tell the truth. We are honest with one another. And truth and honesty lead themselves to authenticity.
Yeah. You're true to who you are. You're honest about who you are. Like, I can't tell you the amount of clients that I'm like, you're lying.
Yeah.
Love you, but you're lying.
Do you say that to them?
Yeah, I do. So I'm not someone, so I am not for everyone.
Welcome to the party. Yes.
I am very, very not for people who need a lot of hand holding.
Sure.
I'm just not. I never have been. I quite frankly don't have the energy, and I don't care. My job is not to coddle people. It's to be honest with them. So like, sometimes I do it in the first session where I'm like, yeah, you're lying about that. But it takes a little while to build that, right? So like, as a coach, as a therapist, there's an ebb and a flow to a relationship. Like, I'm not going to say that if I know that I can't support them through that. But like, I tell them, you're lying. And we can't fix this until you're willing to be honest. You don't have to change anything. Because a lot of people I have found will lie about a situation because they don't want to change it yet. And I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to change it. We have to be honest about it. If you're in an unfulfilling relationship, if you are scared to fire a client, if you are scared to get a new job, but you're like, well, I really like my job. No, the hell you don't.
No, you're crying every morning when your alarm clock goes off.
Or you hate your job. Like, that's okay that you don't want to change it. It's okay that you're not ready to end the relationship or confront them or find a new job or fire that client or start a new package. Like, that's okay. But what we're never going to do, I said, you can lie when you leave my driveway. You can lie when you get off this call. You do not get to lie here. That will never happen because then we can't do a damn thing.
No,
So I love that you say honest and true. Like, not that means you have to change things. That's okay if you're not ready, but we can't even talk about why you're not ready.
Right.
Which is fine. I don't care if you change anything.
Right.
My life is good. If your life sucks, that's on you. I will support you in whatever way you want.
Yeah.
But you, and I feel like you take that stance as well. And I think it's important to talk about that, like, no one, this took a while to learn when I became a therapist. No one cares what I want for them. That's my ego.
No.
That's my problem. It doesn't matter, right? I had to unlearn that because I was like, I think you should do blah, blah, blah. And my supervisors were like, who gives a shit what you think? And I was
it's funny that you say that, though, because I have clients who are like, well, what do you think? Or like, what would you do in my situation? I'm like, that is not our relationship. That is not what we have established.
Yeah. But if it doesn't land,
but also they're not looking for my, I mean, I always have an opinion, but they're not looking for my opinion. It's not for me to dictate their life. It's not for me to consult or like fix their business. They're their business. They're perfect.
Right.
In that moment, they are looking for validation or affirmation.
Yeah.
Now, if it's bullshit, I'm going to say, this doesn't sound right. Yeah. I missed the leap between this thing and that thing. Take me on this journey with you.
Oh, that's so much nicer than what I say. I'm just like, well, that makes no sense.
It depends where we are in our relationship, right? Like if it's day one, I don't want to scare anybody. But if it's conversation 3, I'm going to start to lean in a little bit more and be like, that sounds like nonsense.
That sounds bananas.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so funny.
I also, I try to stay away from the word goals because we've been programmed to think that there's right ways or wrong ways to do things and that there's good goals and bad goals. And instead, because my background is in theater, I use I want statements. So I don't know how much.
I love that. Can you talk about that?
I absolutely. Thank you for the invitation. Yes, I will. Here we go.
You're welcome.
In musical theater, this applies to like any Disney movie you've ever seen as well, too. So if you're not a musical person, this is fine.
Okay.
There is a moment in the first like 10 minutes when the lead character steps out and sings a huge soaring song.
Yeah.
And it is in this song that we learn about their desires and their dreams and their challenges and the things that they're fighting to overcome. Is like, do you have a song that comes
so like to The Little Mermaid? That's like,
yes, I want to be where the people are. That is always the first song that comes to mind. 100%. Yes.
I was also thinking Tangled, the one where she's like 7 a.m.
Yeah. Brush and brush.
Oh my God, I love that song.
So the thing is, and I love The Little Mermaid as an example because it's right there. I want to be where the people are.
Yeah.
Those types of songs, those big proclamation songs, they're called I want songs.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, but it's in that moment that we as the audience are clued in that this is the journey that we're going to be on, right? We now know that we are going to be with this person as they are overcoming challenges, having small successes, having setbacks, doubting themselves and championing and charging forward to get what they want. And at the end of the time of our time together, there is a social contract that they should get what they want.
Yeah.
And what they want in the end might not look like where they started with the I want, but it's the thing that they were meant to have all along. So I refer to goals as I want statements for this very reason. And I like I want because it is a proclamation for you and only you. And the things that you want for yourself might seem similar to what somebody sitting 2 seats down on the train sounds like. But the way that you want it for yourself is uniquely and dynamically your own. And it is scary to say, to proclaim, it is terrifying to say, this is a thing that I want for me, but this is the thing that I deserve, right? And so when you are thinking about your I want statement, it should be something that lights you up, but it should be something that makes your toes tingle, but it also should make you want to hurl because that is the right thing that you are proclaiming that you are reaching for yourself. And I should correct myself because I just said the right thing. It is not for me to say what is right or wrong, right? That's not what goal is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is the thing to swing for.
The thing to swing for. Oh, you are good.
Oh, thank you. I'm like this all the time. So thank you for having a welcoming place for my
No, you're
energy.
fabulous. So once people set their I want and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know if I want to name this.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it becomes, what if I don't get it?
Right.
That
So
makes
we
sense?
talk about how will we know you've gotten what you want? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? How will you act, think, or behave in those moments? Right.
Yeah.
So we get really, really clear on what this I want looks like when it is
Mhm.
actually firing on all cylinders for you.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
And then we know through our coaching engagement what it is we're working towards. Now,
Yeah.
we do this I want this proclamation setting within our first conversations. That way we know what our agreement is with one another.
Right. Like,
And
where are we going?
mhm. And then we have subsequent conversations, but what doesn't happen is we start the conversation by saying, "So this is your I want statement. What are we talking about your I want statement?" It's not like that. It really is. I think of it like a road trip, right? You're
Mm,
driving and I'm just in the passenger seat with playlists and giving you french fries when you're ready for them.
hell yeah.
So, we'll
Give me all the
start
fries.
our conversations with if you had committed to thought exercise or homework from our last conversation, sort of what have
Mhm.
you been doing since our last chat?
Yeah.
And then what's on your mind to talk about today? And then it is both my privilege and my responsibility to make sure that through our individual conversations, we are
Mhm.
tying them back to your progress
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
that bigger I want statement. So that's my role, is to keep you accountable, to bring tough love, to challenge your beliefs or limiting beliefs
Yeah.
about yourself, to call you out on your own bullshit, to celebrate with you and to lovingly push you when you can't push yourself.
Please coach other coaches.
Mm,
Please coach other coaches.
it's
That's so good.
thank you.
That's so good.
Um, it's incredible how many coaches
Don't
approach
know how to do that.
engagements, yeah, with their people and they prescribe or they're rigid or they
Mhm.
don't listen.
Yeah.
And
Well, because
that's
it's such a specific skill set.
yeah.
Like people, you talk about it so naturally and so easily, and my brain is like, you know, you know, Kermit is his name. You know the Kermit gif where he's like screaming? Like
Yeah.
that's my brain when you talk. Because that is such a specific skill set that I can't tell you how many people don't have.
Mm,
They don't have, therapists included. Like, they don't know how to do that. And I
mm.
love that you talk about it in that way, because anyone who listens to this episode is now going to understand what a supportive coaching relationship should look like.
Thanks.
Like, that is exactly what it should look like. You call people out in an empathetic way, in a caring way. You don't judge them. You're just saying, hey, this is a discrepancy. You say you want a beach house. We're looking at mountain houses. Why are we doing that? Has
Yeah.
our goal changed? Or do we want both? Or are we scared? Like,
Hmm.
oh, it's so good. So, how long do people typically work with you? And you run a couple things, right? You do like a group, you do one-on-one, you do consulting.
Yeah. So my signature programs right now are one-on-one coaching.
Mhm.
I have a 5-week online productivity program that I am obsessed with
Okay,
called
tell us
Busy
the name
Bitch.
because it's so clever.
Busy Bitch. It's a 5-week accountability, like productivity accountability program. Every Friday morning, you would wake up with an email from me, 3 prompt questions.
So fun.
By midnight, you answer those 3 prompts. Over the weekend, I review your prompts, and then you get a personal email back from me on Monday morning in response to what you've written. It is
Cool.
like all the good things that you get from coaching without the hour of chit chat because,
Yeah,
bitch, you're busy. Let's get some shit off the shelf that you keep shoving back there for yourself.
that's clever.
Yeah, I love this program.
Hmm,
And the next session, the next cohort starts early September. So there's time if folks are interested
wow,
in a
that's
little
cool.
productivity without punishment. So
What's
one-on-one
your
coaching,
mayhem one?
Make Mayhem is a small group.
I love that
It
one.
has run quarterly. We're on a bit of a hiatus right now because folks have been focusing on just getting back into the world after pandemic, and that's
Yeah.
totally rad. But it's small group coaching, 8 to 10 people, like-minded folks. We start with an I want statement exercise. We do some
Mhm,
masterminding. We support each other through 4 Mondays. They're entitled. They're intended to
mm,
be disruptive, and it's They're fun. It's neat. And
fun.
I had one round of Make Mayhem where it was a group of 5 friends. They just wanted to do it as friends. They decided at the end of the session that one of them was like not their friend anymore. Like they collectively, it's okay. It was really interesting to see week after week how this person started to separate themselves from the group. And by the end, they just had this conversation where they decided that they weren't able to support each other in the way that was healthy or of benefit and value to everybody. And so like a couple of them, like it was the weirdest thing to watch a friend break up. And again, coaching isn't therapy, but I was like, here we go. I'm just going to listen. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to hold space for this. If I need to make connections and referrals for some mental health support after this, I am ready to do it. But like, that was cool. I had another group where it was 8 total strangers and they continue to meet now monthly for virtual coffee.
That's so fun.
Just to check in and continue to support each other, which is really rad.
I love group programs. Like
I do
too. You meet the coolest people.
You really do, especially when you're open to trying something a little brave and to just say, I want to do this and I don't know other people. It's also an easy way to network.
Yeah.
In a way that's not
bravery. Bravery is rewarding in ways that people often can't see. Which I love. It's like it creates so much serendipity. Yeah. So like it creates so many like magical moments that like you don't even realize that like you're saying you're also opening that door when you open this door.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I love that. Where do people find you?
Well, so people can find me online at uproarcoaching.com. That's where you'll get a rundown of all of my programs and the fun things that I've got going on. And you can also book a free intro chat with me there. And when I say free, I mean free. And otherwise, I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn and a little bit on Facebook at uproar_coaching.
Dude, you're just so good. If people forget everything that we say and they're only going to remember this one thing, what do you want that to be?
You deserve to be your truest, most colorful self all the time.
You're so good.
Thank you.
I'm always like amazed at the thing that people say when I ask that. I'm just like, oh, you're so good.
What would you say?
Oh, about this conversation?
Oh, yeah. But I just meant about you and like Amanda's practice, but whatever.
That's a good question. Probably that honesty will set you free. Yeah. But for this conversation, it is once you have the courage to be authentic, doors open for you.
Yeah.
Like they just open for you. And some doors will close for you. And that's good. That's good too. Yeah. We want them to close when you're true and authentic. Like they're not your doors.
Yeah. Saying no to things means you get to say hell yes to other exciting things. So let those doors close. Yeah.
And I've been playing around a lot with the thought this or something better. So like if something doesn't work out, right, girl. So I read it in an Amanda Francis book. She does like money education.
Yeah.
A lot of like manifesting.
I have her book on my shelf.
It's in her book. Is it Rich as Fuck?
Yeah.
Have you read it? It's good.
I got, but it's still in the to be read pile. I need to come back to it.
Yes. It's really good though.
Yeah.
I really like the way that she teaches. But she introduced that thought, like this or something better. It's always this or something better. And that has brought a lot of peace and a lot of acceptance for me. So I've been playing around with that thought a lot. And I really like that.
Yeah, I do too.
So if a door closes for you, great. It's not your door.
Bye door.
Bye door. I got other things to do. Like go find a new door. You are so, this is so fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, y'all go be good.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know, don't be good. Be fun. Whatever. Be whatever you want to be.
Just, don't do anything I wouldn't, which is quite honestly a world of opportunity.